Well, hey there, second graders. Let me get up off my stool here. It's math time again. And I know I'm running a little ahead of you, but that's okay. That way the videos are up for you that you can review as you go into these different lessons. The lesson today is 11.6. It's on page 735 in your math workbooks. And it's all about sorting two-dimensional shapes. Now on page 735, it says make the shape with the pattern blocks, draw and color the blocks you use. And I keep looking at this and I got no idea what they want you to do with these. What I do know is the shape that you see on page 735 and those three different illustrations is a picture of a trapezoid. Now, a trapezoid is a particular shape in geometry. And what makes it a trapezoid is the fact that when you look at it, these two sides, they're parallel. They run straight along with each other. But this side goes in this direction, and this side goes in that direction. They are not parallel. Matter of fact, if they kept going, at some point they would not only run into each other, the lines, they would even cross each other. So if you took the lines of those two sides, eventually they would do that. That's not parallel. Parallel means two lines that never touch each other. They run in the same direction and never touch each other. And that's what makes this a trapezoid, is the fact that two sides are parallel, the other two sides are not. So whatever they want you to do with these blocks, make some blocks just like this, cut them out, put them together in different configurations. I guess, I don't know. I'm confused. Let's go to page 736. What's going on page 736? Well, now we're starting to see on both of these pages all kinds of different shapes. And in geometry, those different shapes are called different things. So, we're looking at the first example there. Which shapes match the rule? And that's shapes with more than three sides. Now, there can be shapes with all kinds of sides. A shape with three sides is always going to be a triangle. One, two, three sides. Now, we want shapes that have more than three sides. So that can be four sides, which could be a square or a rectangle, a parallelogram. Five sides, which is a pentagon. Six sides, which is a hexagon. Eight sides, which is an octagon. They all have more than three sides. So look at there. In the example, they draw the circle around. The first one is a parallelogram. The second one is a rectangle. And the third one is a hexagon. They all have more than three sides. The next example is shapes with fewer than five sides. So fewer than five sides means it's fewer than a pentagon, which means it's a square or rectangle, parallelogram, triangle, that's less than five sides. So now they want you to look at problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Look at the rule, put a circle around whatever the problem is asking you to find. So I'll do number 1 for you. Number 1 is shapes with 5 sides. And there are 5 examples there. The very first one is a true pentagon. It has 5 sides, and they are all equal in length. The next one is a triangle. Clearly does not have 5 sides. The next shape you see there is kind of a house sitting on its side. But if you count the sides, it has 5 sides. So you need to put a circle around the house that's laying down. The next shape is a rectangle, 4 sides. That don't work. But then you have the last shape there. Looks like a little crown. Count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a circle around it. Now, do the same thing for problems all the way through 8. Remember, count the sides and select whatever the rule is asking you to select. Let's look at the Think Smarter now. Problem number 9. Draw 3 shapes that match the rule. Circle them, then draw 2 shapes that do not match the rule. So the rule that they're giving you here is fewer than 5. Now it's not saying sides, it's saying angles. Remember yesterday we talked about angles? If it has 3 sides, it also has 3 angles. So, understanding that, whether they ask for sides or they ask for angles, it's still going to be the same number. So they could have just as easily said 5 sides. Because a shape with 5 angles is going to have 5 sides. So we want to do 3 shapes that match the rule. Fewer, this little symbol here means less than 5 sides. So that means anything 4-sided, 3-sided. It can't be a shape if it has less than 3 sides, because 2 sides would just be 2 lines. 1 side would just be 1 line, and neither of those 2 make a shape. So that's what we're working with. 4 sides. First thing that I think of is a rectangle. 3 sides, the first thing I think of is a triangle. So now, what other shape would have 3 or 4 sides? We could either use a trapezoid, or we could use also a parallelogram. See, a parallelogram, this side is parallel to that side, and this side is parallel to that side. That's why it's called a parallelogram. The sides are parallel. By the way, a rectangle is also a parallelogram, because these 2 sides are parallel and these 2 sides are parallel. So sometimes a term can be more universal. It can mean more than one shape. Nonetheless, we drew 4. We only needed to draw 3. Now it says draw 2 shapes that do not match. So if we're going to draw 2 shapes that do not match, we want to do something that has more. Actually, equal to or greater than 5. So the first thing I think of is a pentagon. Pentagon has 5 sides. And that pentagon can be anything. Now, 6 sides, we would have your basic hexagon. So here's one with 5 sides, here's one with 6. And if we decided to go as far as making just a weird shape, we could one, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That has 5 sides, and it has 1 angle, 2 angles, 3 angles, 4 angles, 5 angles. So it has 5 sides. It would be called a pentagon because it's 5-sided. Or you could even draw something that we all recognize. A hexagon, an octagon, which is your basic stop sign. So that wasn't all that difficult. See what kind of shapes you come up with. Let's clear the board here. It's getting too crowded. And turn the page. Now on page 738, what do they want us to do there? Problem number 10, make connections. Sort the shapes. Use red to color the shapes with more than 4 sides, and blue to color the shapes with fewer than 5 sides. Think about that one for a second. It just made my brain kind of spin a little bit here. Use red to color the shapes with more than 4 sides. So that means any shape that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever sides, you're going to color red. Use blue to color the shapes that are fewer than 5 angles. But if it's got 5 angles, it's got 5 sides. So use blue to color any shape that has less than 5 sides. So that's going to be the 4-sided and the 3-sided shapes. Problem number 11 is asking you to sort them out and draw the shape in the box it belongs. So it's asking you shape with fewer than 5 sides, and then shapes with more than 4 sides. There's 4 images there. Put them in the right box. In the homework, I don't see anything here that we haven't covered in the lesson. In the spiral view, they're asking you to measure a pencil with a ruler using inches. So you're just going to get your ruler, measure that pencil, and write in how long it is in inches. And then we have a tally chart. Remember, we've had a couple picture charts in the past. This was a tally chart where you make a line for every piece of data. And it's asking you to use that tally chart to determine how many children chose basketball as their favorite sport. So you got to count the hash marks. And remember, when on a tally chart, when you see this, that equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the diagonal line is 5. So when you see that, it's 5. So you got to count the hash marks and tell them how many people chose basketball. That I'm sure you won't have any problem with. That concludes 11.6. The next unit is partition rectangles. How do you find the total number of same size squares that will cover a rectangle? What we're going to be looking at in 11.7 is basically an introduction of how you determine the area, the surface area of a shape. And in second grade, it isn't going to be real complicated, but it is something that as you go through the different grades, the higher up in grades, the more you learn about how to find area of surface. So that's what you can look forward to tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be next week because it's Friday. And so I'll be in Monday to continue with your lessons. We're getting pretty close to the end of the book here, second graders, so keep up the good work. Make sure you're understanding all of these concepts. Let your teacher know if there's something you're really, really stumped on so that I can put up some additional help for you. Take care of yourselves now. Stay safe. Enjoy your time off. We'll see you later.